So when you're going through your homework problems, there's it's important that you try to follow like an organized process in order to do it. So when you're doing these homework problems, it's important that you first try to read the problem that you're trying to solve very carefully and try to identify what concepts, equations that were presented during the lecture or past or in the in the textbook chapters in order to solve the problem. Once you identify uh, that what concepts might apply to this situation. You then want to identify what important information was available from the problem statement, such as like the magnitude of an applied force or the dimensions of a problem or critical dimensions. So then once you have those critical pieces of information, you can then apply that knowledge that you learned in lecture to help solve the solution. Okay, once you have once you have those equations, you'll solve the equations and you'll approach a number of appropriate number of significant figures. And then the very key thing is that you should try to review your answer and determine if it's reasonable based off of the problem inputs. This process is a good way for you to try to understand if you're getting the lectures or getting the concepts that are taught in the lectures and you're mastering the ability to solve these problems. Okay, so that's really the main goal of this whole class is for you to demonstrate this ability to identify what equations you need to use or what concepts that you've learned in the class you need to be able to use to solve for some desired unknown. And once you determine that unknown, you really need to also be able to determine whether or not the answer you came up with is a reasonable number. If it's not reasonable based off of the logic, the inputs, you probably made a calculation mistake, and you need to be able to find that calculation mistake. Alright, so that concludes this video on how you can try to solve your homework problems in this course.